Hello and a very warm welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I want to talk about the real estate market in the land of the rising sun, namely Japan. I'll give you 10 reasons why I think this may not be a great market to invest in. I'll then give you some positives and a conclusion at the end. So let's get straight down to it. Here are 10 reasons why I think potentially Japan may not be a great real estate market to invest in. Number one is the very low growth rate. So if we take the last 3 decades, in only 3 of these years has the Japanese economy grown by more than 3%. I'm sure you'll agree with me, that is not a great performance when you compare it to other developed markets. Number two is the declining population. Now Japan has a severe problem, A, because the birth rate is extremely low in Japan, and B, because of the very aging population. Indeed, if you take people over the age of 100, Japan has 80,500 people who are aged 100 plus, and that's growing year on year. Now, I'm sure you'll agree with me, that presents a very difficult problem for the government, because who are going to pay for these pensioners in the future, in particular when immigration is very, very low? Number three, and what I think is the biggest problem of all, is the total government debt to GDP. Now, as of 2020, it is predicted by the end of 2020 that this is going to reach 250%. Now, I'll repeat that figure, 250%, because it's a staggering figure, and it is very, very high, even by any countries in Europe, even Greece and Italy. So this presents Japan with a major problem going forward. Number four, more specifically related to the property market, if you do go buy property in Japan and you deal with a real estate agent, you will find most of them don't speak any English. And a lot of them, I've heard lots of reports on the internet that a lot of them are just not interested in foreign buyers, and indeed helping foreign buyers to acquire property in Japan. Number five are the net yields. Now, the net yields are not bad. Typically in the center of Tokyo, you'll get around 3 to 4.5%. But they're not great either. In particular, if you buy in a luxurious building in the very center of Tokyo, you might get even lower yields than that. Number six are the buy-sell costs. Again, these are not high, but they're not particularly low either. You must budget for around 11 to 12%, and these will include the following. They'll include the real estate agent fee, stamp duty, registration tax, acquisition tax, and other smaller taxes as well. Number seven is the high annual property tax cost. Now, this ties in with your net yields. So each year in Japan, you'll pay 1.4% property tax and 0.3% city tax, bringing the annual carrying cost to 1.7%. Now, this is very high. So even if you're getting a net yield of 3.4%, which is not too bad, this will basically halve your yield immediately. And this doesn't take into account other costs of, let's say, building repairs, or, for example, if you use a real estate agent to manage your property letting. Now, number eight is other taxes. The worst one of all being capital gains tax. Now, if you do decide to become a resident in Japan, and you sell your property within 5 years, you will pay a whopping 39.63% if you sell within 5 years. If you sell after 5 years, you'll still have to pay 20.315%. Even as a non-resident, which I think most of you will be when you purchase in Japan, and you sell within 5 years, you'll still pay a hefty 30.63%. And even if you sell after 5 years, you'll pay 15.315%. And if you couple this with inheritance tax as well, which at a progressive tax rate reaches 55%, I'm sure you'll agree these taxes are very, very high. Number nine are mortgages. So if you're a non-resident, to get a mortgage in Japan is going to be very, very, very difficult. And finally, number 10 is natural disasters. Unfortunately, Japan does experience a lot of earthquakes and natural disasters as well, and this may affect your property. So having given you 10 reasons potentially not to invest in this market, I do want to give you 5 positives. The first one being is safety. Now, Japan is one of the safest countries in the world to buy property, and it particularly when you compare it to other Asian countries. Number two, what I like is that finally Japan is beginning to open up. So you have zero distinction between local and foreign buyers. They both have the same rights, equal rights. And even when acquiring land, that is the same. This has actually encouraged a number of foreign buyers, in particular wealthy Chinese buyers, to go in. Number three is the tourism boom. Now, as of 2010, there were 8.6 million foreign visitors going to Japan every year. By 2019, this had grown to 31.8 million, a whopping increase. And this should get even better with the Olympics taking place next year in Tokyo 2021. Now, I think when a city gets the Olympic Games, it is usually followed by a property boom. I'll give you a couple of examples. Barcelona in 92 and also London in 2012, they followed a mini boom after the Olympics. Number four, we mustn't forget Japan is an amazingly hard-working and efficient country. And indeed, by many reports, it's the most labor efficient country in the world. It's known for its automation, its innovation, in particular in the world of robotics. And number five, what's also been happening in Japan is that the visa laws have got a lot easier. And this has enabled a lot more foreign investment as well. And what I like is that this has been coupled with a slight increase in immigration. Finally, Japan is coming around to the fact that they need more young immigrant workers to sustain its elderly population. So having given you the pros and cons, if you do decide to buy, where should you buy? Well, with the prospect of potential depopulation, I would only invest in the central parts of major cities where demand, I think, will stay high. So potentially the center of Tokyo, maybe Shibuya, Minato, these are all central areas, central wards of Tokyo. But you will have to pay a hefty price to invest there. But I think these places will at the very least maintain these values. But I think there will be capital appreciation, especially after the Tokyo Olympics. You could also invest in other parts of Tokyo, so the South Wards, where you have Haneda Airport, which is a major airport in Tokyo. It's not the biggest one, that's Narita, but it's still a very, very, very important major international airport. So if you're an expat, that could be a good place to invest. If you don't invest in Tokyo, you could invest in Osaka, but I would only go for the very center of Osaka, or Kyoto, which is loved by many, many tourists. And I think this will continue to be a tourist hotspot. So potentially you could do an Airbnb there. So having given you all this data and information, should you buy? Well, to be honest, it wouldn't be a market for me. I think it would be potentially a market for somebody who has a large sum of money to invest, is very risk averse, and wants to go into the Asian market with if not spectacular gains, potentially some steady gains, but more wealth preservation. So it isn't a terrible market to invest in. So from my perspective, I'll give it a neutral. So let me know your thoughts. What do you think about the Japan real estate market? Are you thinking of investing there? Don't forget, I do other videos on real estate. Don't forget around the world. So don't forget to check those out. Have a great day. If you do like my videos, please do subscribe. Please click the like button, and I'll see you very soon on the next video. Thanks for now. Bye.